was an honor guard for President Johnson for about a half an hour one day at Camp Pendleton when he came to send the 1st Marine Division to Vietnam.
Well, there we go. See, we're gonna get all this, Dick. This is
Okay, well.
Thank you, Dick. I really appreciate this. We've talked about this for about a year.
Yes.
And I have failed miserably. It's totally my fault for just not getting around to it. So here we are.
I'm pretty sure it's because you're busy. You're very busy, I know that.
No. Well, I'm honored that you're here because you have been such a public presence, a public servant on the planning board forever. And,
Yes.
Just you've committed to the community, and always glad to have a chance to know a little bit more behind people like you. And so, tell me a little bit about your mom and dad.
Oh, my mom and dad are interesting. My dad grew up on the reservation outside of Salamanca. And I don't believe we have any Native American in us, but that's where he lived until he was 14 years old when his family broke up. His mother died, and he went to live with his sister in Salamanca. Went to high school there until his 16th birthday, and left Salamanca. He walked to Jamestown. And got a job as a dishwasher in one of the restaurants here in downtown.
Okay. What was his name?
Francis Gerald Patton, but he went by Pat, and he hated his first 2 names. Anyway, at that restaurant, that's where he met my mother, who was the only daughter of Elbro Hooper, who owned several businesses in Jamestown and was really quite wealthy, very wealthy, I think.
What was her name?
My mother was Catherine Hooper, and but she always was known as Honey. She had honey-colored hair, and I think that's where Honey came from. I never called her mother; I always called her Honey. But because of her background, she had 3.5 years of college at Syracuse University, and we're talking a high school dropout, getting to know a college girl from probably the upper strata of Jamestown.
Yeah.
But they were a good pair. They were good parents. I feel I was raised very well. By that time, it's a working class family. My dad eventually owned a meat market, and World War II killed that because they couldn't get enough.
Where was that? Where was his?
In Lakewood. It was Ball and Patton Meat Rock. Gaylord Ball was my uncle.
Okay.
And first cousin of Lucille Ball, by the way.
I'll be darned.
So, and at that time, my dad went to work for Marlin Rockwell at that time, and we became a working class family, but I believe a good one. I feel I was raised right. I was loved and given every opportunity to get in trouble or whatever.
So, where did you live? Where was home?
West Ellicott and Merlin Avenue, behind the, what's now the Good Time Saloon, and out to the end of that, that's Merlin Avenue, and we lived out at the end of that. And we didn't start at the top. My dad bought that at a tax sale.
Oh, no kidding.
And spent the next several years making it livable. But,
now, do you have siblings?
I have a sister that's 13 months younger than me, Carol. She's in Sun City, Arizona now.
Okay.
And she was a good sister. And there were just the 2 of us, and you're breaking me up.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it brings a memory. So, during this time period, when you grew up, so you went to school here locally?
I went to Southwestern with Celeron until 9th grade, and then that's when Southwestern came into being.
Okay.
And I went there.
Where was Southwestern located at the time?
Nowhere.
Yeah.
It was part of the high school was in Celeron, and part of it was in Lakewood. I spent my days, half a day in Lakewood and half a day in Celeron, riding a bus in the middle of the day. So, yeah, 9th grade's when it happened, and there never was a a high school building until 2 or 3 years after I graduated from high school.
So when we think of Southwestern as it was really Lakewood, right? It was Lakewood High School.
Lakewood and Celeron High
Celeron.
School put together, plus a grade school that was only bus style. And they were all put together.
So what year were you born, Dick?
1933.
So you're born in 1933.
November 4th.
Right.
I'm 91 years old.
And you hide it well, by the way.
What?
You hide it well.
Well, good.
So being 1933, Celeron, I got to ask, I mean, let's just pause for a second since you are a shirt tail relation to Lucille Ball. Did you know much about her growing up? Was that a conversation?
Yes. My aunt that was married to Gaylord Ball, her cousin, lived across the road from Mother Ball, who was also, I believe, the grandmother of Lucille. And I spent a lot of Sunday afternoons over there playing various games. Met Lucille Ball, but she was already gone to wherever she went, to New York City, I think, at that time.
Right.
But I don't remember that, but I'm told I actually played Monopoly with her in a few things on a Sunday afternoon.
Was it in Celeron?
In Celeron.
Yeah. Where the Hunt, it was a grandfather was named Hunt.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but yeah, Lucy Lane there, is
Right.
that house, yeah.
Yeah, Fifth Street, I believe. Oh yeah, no, I'm told I know her, that I played games with her. I don't know that for a fact.
Well, that's good enough. Okay, carry it. Don't lose that thought.
Right.
And so then you would have graduated from, would have been called Lakewood High School at the time?
No, it was Southwestern.
So they actually
called it Southwestern.
So called it Southwestern, even though it was two buildings.
That's right.
And what year was that?
1951.
1951. Let's go back a little bit, because you were born in 1933. You would have been 8 years old on December 7th, 1941.
No, November 4th.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah. Yes, I'd have been 8 years old.
8
then.
years old on December 7th, 1941, when Pearl Harbor. Do you remember that?
Yes.
What do you remember about it?
Well, I think just that the whole neighborhood, the whole area was in shock. It was and I grew up in a mixed neighborhood of good people, and almost immediately the young people are volunteering to join the military. What else do I remember? And it wasn't very long before we got into doing things for the war, like collecting scrap metal, making K-Pock, whatever we made it out of, collecting the stuff to make. I'm losing the words right now, but milkweed pods.
Oh, no kidding.
And we gathered those and brought them to school and got paid for bringing a bag in every time, but we did it because they needed that to go in warm jackets. It was used as an insulator.
No kidding. Wow.
No, I well remember it. And about that time, my older cousins and two uncles joined the military. They all went. It was war, and I was involved in it. In fact, I was ready at 8 years old or 10 years old, whatever, to join too, but they wouldn't let me.
Do you remember your mom and dad talking about it at all over the dinner table, or as things were coming in the newspaper?
To some degree, yes. I know, I say my dad by that time soon went to work for Marlin Rockwell, and they're making ball bearings for the war effort, and he was working a lot of hours. He worked a night shift, and it was 6 nights a week and sometimes 10 hours a night, and very much, I think we were all very very much into the war, supporting it in any way possible. I know he was, and I think we were. So.
Do you remember rations? Was that a part of your?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Gas rationing came, I don't know dates, but pretty quickly, and because we lived out in the suburbs, Dad had to carpool to get to work because we didn't have gas enough to get to work otherwise. Yeah, sugar was rationed, meat was rationed. About everything was rationed, I think. Yeah, I do remember a lot about it, and we didn't mind it being a hard time. We thought it was, but we were doing it for the war effort.
Were there, I'm using the term blackouts, but they had civilian wardens and stuff like that?
We had a warden that came around every night. It was, I remember him well, Andrew Scalisi, the first one that had Scalisi Construction. Mm-hmm. Oh, he was very faithful about getting around and making sure you had your windows blackened and everything was quiet after it got dark. You had to. Yeah, I remember him quite a bit, and the whole neighborhood played the game. We didn't know if we were going to be bombed the next moment or what, but there was a lot of fear of that. Yeah.
Your dad working at Marlin Rockwell, I guess at the time, MRC.
Yeah, MRC at the time.
And being a very important war industry aspect of it, was there extra precautions made, do you know? Just because,
I don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know that, but I suspect there were. But I know he was old enough not to be drafted, but was willing to go.
Yeah.
And it was a priority job, so he was not draft eligible. That's what I know about that, I guess.
Was it MRC, was this the plant in Jamestown? I know they subsequently got a plant in Faulkner, but this was in Jamestown.
That was the Jamestown plant. That's all there was in those days.
Okay.
Yeah, the Faulkner plant didn't come till much later.
Okay. Oh, wow. You remember your mom? Was it did you have a victory garden? Did you have anything like that?
Oh, we definitely had a victory garden. Yeah, and we all worked in it. Yeah, my mother was the primary one to keep it, but my sister and I helped weed it and go pick whatever it was. And, oh yes, we were very much into that. We also began raising rabbits and chickens, both to eat and to sell, because the other meats were rationed and in short supply anyway. Even if you had ration tickets, you didn't have any. There wasn't any to buy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The schooling. Do you remember it being discussed in school? Did the teachers put maps up? Was that kind of like this is what's going on, or were you too young at that point?
Well, I was probably in grade school and too young. I don't remember that. I remember always buying war stamps and savings bonds.
Ah, sure.
You brought your dime or your quarter or whatever you had and bought another stamp, and pretty soon you had a war bond. We did that very faithfully. Oh, it was discussed in school, but I don't really have much memory of it.
The war ends in the VE Day is June of 1945, and then VJ Day in August of 45. Do you remember? You'd have been a little bit older now. Was there celebrations? Do you remember?
Oh, there definitely was. I was peddling papers by that time, and the local bar, I couldn't get enough papers. Everybody wanted to buy them, and everybody was celebrating. I do remember that.
Yeah.
And the restaurant, the bar I remember the most was Malari's down at the end of Merlin Avenue where I grew up.
Right.
And I think there was a wild party there that lasted more than a day, 3 or 4 days, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did your family, remember getting letters from uncles that would come, letters to the family. Anything like that? Neighbors talking about it?
Well, we wrote letters back and forth to two uncles and several cousins that were in the war one way or another. I had one cousin, Harry Bowles, who was with the 101st Airborne, I believe. He did combat jumps in Europe 3 times and came back a hero, and we wrote him pretty regularly. He saw the worst of the worst. And he was my hero.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about Harry. Now, when he came back, wasn't he like a referee? Wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
I mean, that's my memory of a Harry Bowles.
He was drafted out of high school and didn't finish high school. And he was a pretty good athlete, a very good athlete, I think. When he came back, he started managing and running various teams, softball and basketball in particular, and then got into refereeing. That's right. He refereed a lot of basketball, and I'm not sure what else. By about that time, I was gone. I was somewhere else, but yes.
Well, did he talk about his war experience at all?
Little at a time. I know he saw an awful lot of action. I've read some books that were published that he was one of the people not mentioned but involved. No, he saw a bad time, and he was wounded. I don't know how much. A couple of different times, I think, but not serious. The story I like to tell about, he was a medic with the Airborne. But he said as quick as he landed, he knew enough. They didn't carry weapons. But he always picked one up as quick as one was available because he knew he had to defend himself.
Right.
And I have no doubt he was a hero.
Yeah. Now, you graduated from Southwestern.
Southwestern, yes.
I'll get this right. In 1951, but that's the time of the Korean War.
Yes.
And were you draft eligible then?
I was 17 when I graduated. I never really thought about it. I had a chance to go to college. I went out to Brockport for physical education. There was no scholarships for athletes, but there was a training table, and so I went a year to college. And I only went a year. I ran out of money at the end of a year. I came back, and at that time I joined the National Guard here, Company D of the National Guard, and worked and saved my money and had for 3 years, and then was able to go back and finish my college at Brockport. And by that time I'm ineligible to play sports, and I didn't have time to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So I worked here for the city rec department part-time in addition to working in various factories.
This would have been the 50s, the late 50s?
This would have been, early 50s. I would have been. And I went to Jamestown Community College.
Okay.
And I did play basketball for Jamestown Community College.
Okay.
I was the playmaker guard. That's now a point guard, I guess.
Yeah.
And who did Jamestown Community College play? We weren't very good, and there weren't any community colleges at that time. So we played in the City Rec League.
Ah.
And I only went a semester there because I found out what I was taking there wouldn't transfer back to Brockport, where I knew I was going to go whenever I could.
So off to Brockport you went,
I went back to Brockport, and by that time I'm out of the National Guard because I'm back in college, so I joined the Marine Reserve and learned about their officer program. I spent the next 2 summers down at Quantico qualifying for an officer program and finishing up the rest of my college.
Then so you get done with Brockport, you graduate. What did you? What was your special? What'd you major in?
Major was health and physical education.
Okay.
And I guess we have to get my wife into the story at this time. Meantime, she went Fredonia to college. And I have to tell about Carol. Carol's more important than I am. She was our class valedictorian at Southwestern.
Your last name?
And we went together in high school. We weren't married yet, but anyway, she worked a year before she went to Fredonia, where she graduated as a top straight-A student. And they hired her into Brockport College as an assistant professor right out of high school, or right out of college, excuse me. And by that time we got married, and the last 2 years we were married. And it made it so I could eat every day. She had a steady income.
What did she do?
She taught in their campus school. They had a grade school attached to the college where young students could come in and do practice teaching, and she worked with those students, and those students did the teaching, she did the supervising. So, yeah.
What was her maiden name?
She was Carol Parker. Harold Parker and was her father, and he was a local man here, and did various things.
Mm-hmm.
And her mother was Anna Parker, worked in several different insurance offices.
And what year did you get married?
Oh my goodness. Would have been 1956.
Okay, so you're married in 1956, and at that stage of the game, are you at Brockport at that point?
I was back at Brockport completing my sophomore year. She was completing her senior year at Fredonia.
Gotcha.
And, yeah. And we'd basically gone together forever. We went together in high school. And we're still together.
Yeah.
We're married 69 years.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations. Congratulations.
And no, I don't say enough nice things about her, and she deserves them all. She just, I was gone once I got in the Marine Corps and on active duty, I was gone half the time. And we had 3 good kids, and Carol raised them. I did what I could and had a steady income, and but Carol raised them and did a good job.
Let's get you into the Marines. At one point, so you graduate as basically with a phys ed major at Brockport, and you're already in the reserves.
Yeah.
And then when did you enlist?
Well, I was commissioned at graduation.
Okay.
And went on I guess that was May, and I went on active duty in July.
And this would have been July of?
58.
58, okay.
58. And went to basic school, Marine Corps. It's peacetime, so we had 9 months of basic school. All Marine officers become basically infantry officers first, and then go to a specialty after that. My specialty after that, I went to 3-month school at Camp Lejeune, and in supply. I became a supply officer. And also Carol taught at Quantico the year that we were there. Mm-hmm. So again, bless her, because you didn't get overpaid in the Marine Corps, and we didn't have many debts, but we certainly didn't have anything else. We just barely made it there.
Yeah. And so once you get it through basic, and then where'd you go?
Okay, from basic to supply school for 3 months, and then Camp Pendleton, California.
Okay.
And I spent the next 4.5 years there, mostly at a place called Base Materiel Battalion, which was where the supplies for the 1st Marine Division and all the west coast of the Marine Corps were. And I was a supply officer there, and we spent the next 4.5 years there. And I did get a year out with an engineer battalion, which I was, I guess back up, Base Materiel Battalion was more civilians than it was Marines. Mm-hmm. There was Marine supervision, a few Marine warehousemen, but mostly civilians. Mm-hmm. And so my platoon, my my group were mostly civilians, and I had the accounting branch for most of that time. Except after about 3 years, I went to the engineer battalion, and that was a good Marine unit, did me a lot of good. I made captain while I was there. Loved it. And okay, from there, I went unaccompanied to Okinawa for 15 months. Went again with this time a Marine supply unit, 3rd Force Service Regiment, and I was the inventory officer, inventorying all the supplies we had out there. I guess all this time I'm coaching too. I'm coaching one sport or another. At Camp Pendleton, I had the base boxing team. I had the baseball team for a while. Various other things. When I got out there, I took over the regimental football team. You don't have to have anything but a desire to do it. I certainly wasn't qualified for any of those jobs at that time, but you work your way in. And I think that's what I loved about the Marine Corps was you got opportunity to do things you never would have gotten that soon anywhere else. And I was hooked by then. So I had a career. I was doing well, and I liked what I was doing. I loved what I was doing. I thought it was important. And from there, we went back to Camp Pendleton again for another 4.5 years. That spring, which would have been, dates don't come back easily. It would have been the spring of '65. The Vietnam thing got going. I was not eligible to go, so I again got back at the Base Materiel Battalion and worked my way up to helping get the supplies and stuff to the troops overseas.
How did you, during that time period, there are, Vietnam, we've been in Vietnam since really in a sense, they were late 50s and then early 60s, Kennedy.
Yeah.
And it sort of ramps up.
That's
And
right.
did your fellow servicemen, because the Marines are kind of the front line, did you get a sense of their feelings towards that? I mean, did they, or just it was a duty?
I think it was just duty. You know, I don't think anybody likes to go to a war, but that's what you do as a Marine, or that's what you're prepared to do. Yeah, I think it was their duty. And basically, once the war was on, I think most of the people I knew wanted to go. They wanted to be part of it. I wanted to go. I wasn't eligible because I just returned from unaccompanied overseas.
Right.
So I wasn't eligible. But I know the job I was doing was important, and eventually I got to go.
Yeah. So when you say eventually you got to go, what were the circumstances there?
I got to go in late '69, October of '69. The Marine Corps was in the northern part of South Vietnam, and actually they were beginning to pull out of there by the time I got there. I went to the Force Logistics Command again, had a staff job. I was a major, and I was a G3 operations officer, which doesn't mean anything if you don't know, but anyway, whatever the troops in the field needed, it was really my job to get it. If it was send it to them, order it, do whatever was necessary, and it was a big job. I was also the briefer for the commanding general there, but I also did the briefing for the place when dignitaries came around. So I was in a 1,018-acre camp with just supplies, and also there was a lot of maintenance going on there too. There was a maintenance half to it also. Then I got to talk about that. I did things like play volleyball every day, play handball with the commanding general almost every day. But also it was go on and stay on. They were 18 and 20-hour days most of the time, and mostly you just were there to react to what happened out in the war zones.
At that time, when you were there, what was happening in the war zones?
Not a lot. Things were on a defensive situation primarily. We occupied the ground and just were holding it. There wasn't a lot of activity really. Sometimes where I was, I could hear and see artillery go off or something, and so there, but it was not an active war at that time. Little flare-ups here and there.
Mm-hmm. At the time, when you talk about dignitaries, was congressional? Were there people who came over just to observe? You know.
We had high-ranking military and high-ranking civilians. Congressmen, sometimes the governor. We never got a president, but I'm never quite sure why they came over. I guess to get a first-hand look at what was going on. I'll give them that. But I really don't know. Just something that they did.
Yeah. And again, what time period would this been when you were in Vietnam?
I was in October of '69 to October of '70.
Okay, that was your year.
By the time I left in October of '70, the Marine Corps was basically gone.
Yeah.
Our command was about a third the size in people that it had been previously, and a lot of the line units were already gone. We were turning it over a little bit to a time to the South Vietnamese. I ended up the last couple of months I became the ammunition officer in charge of closing down ammunition dumps, which was interesting. Some of the stuff we were able to retrograde, send back to the States, but a lot of it we just burned and blew up, or turned over to the South Vietnamese, which really didn't work out very good because they lost it almost immediately.
Right.
Okay, that's where I ended up, and when I guess then comes you've heard my war years, which were
sometime during your war years you have a chance to see the president.
Yeah. When the 1st Marine Division mounted out of Camp Pendleton, it was President Johnson, and I got to be an honor guard for him for the speech that he gave to send off the troops. So I got to hold a sword behind him for about a half an hour, I guess. And that's the history of that.
Well, for the camera, what does an honor guard mean?
Well, we got in our dress uniforms and broke out our swords and marched up and walked with him to where he spoke, and then lined up behind him and guarded him, I guess, it's, in a ceremonial way. That's about all it meant.
How many people would it be in an honor guard?
I think we had 8 people.
8 people.
All Marine majors.
So there you are, one of 8. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I bet someplace, somewhere, there's a picture of you.
I'll bet there is too. I don't know where it is.
No, I just bet.
Yeah, there probably is. Yes, there would be.
You would be behind him, right?
Behind him, that's right.
So that's fascinating. Well, there you are. So that's the end. You're 1970. Did you muster out at that time, or did you go into the reserve? Did you?
No. When I got back, my next station was Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
The Marine Corps supply activity there. It was the paperwork for all Marine logistics at that time. Again, I ran clothing for the Marine Corps. during that. Ordered, contracted for, dealt with the people making clothing, and I ran a section of about 40 civilians. And at that time my career was over because I was a major. I could not get promoted beyond major without, and I like to tell this story, without having a master's degree. I had tried to get one 2 other times, went to San Diego State for part-time for some courses and didn't get far enough because of duty. I started going to Temple University part-time, and I got 2 courses there and got too busy. But a small miracle happened for me. Somehow I got selected and went to the Armed Forces Staff College in Norfolk, Virginia. That was a master's degree. Best school I ever went to. I was there for about 7 or 8 months. Every day we had someone of national or international prominence speak in the morning, and then we'd have a seminar for a couple hours after talking about what they talked about. I saw people like the Vice President of the United States was there, and it was when Nixon was in trouble, whoever his appointed vice president was, and the name's...
Well, Nelson Rockefeller. Was it Rockefeller at the time?
Doesn't sound
No,
right.
Rockefeller was Ford. Rockefeller was Ford,
that's
yeah,
what it was.
that's right. So,
Yeah.
Agnew?
Agnew, yeah. And we had the head of the FBI came down one day, the Secretary of State came down one day. It was a tremendous education for 6 or 7 months.
Wow.
In a gentleman's school. I did have to write a paper, and I wrote it on military logistics. It wasn't very good, but it was good enough, I guess. But I knew military logistics because that's basically what I'd been doing.
Right.
So, and I wrote most of it out of the top of my head. I didn't have time to do an awful lot of research. But, yeah.
And then you got your master's.
After I got my master's, they sent me again to, words don't want to come, to Richmond, Virginia, to the Defense Supply Agency, which was a joint service job, and I ran the warehouses for them at Richmond, Virginia for about 3 years. Again, I worked with civilians. I had 70-some civilian warehousemen and one military me.
Yeah.
And but the good thing is my 2 bosses during the time I was there, I had a Navy captain the first half and an Army colonel the other half, so that expanded my awareness and knowledge of the other services. What else? Oh, and then when I finished there, I finished up my career down in Raleigh, North Carolina, running the Navy and Marine Corps Reserve Center. And I retired out of there. By this time, I've got about 21 years of commissioned service and 4 years of enlisted reserve time.
So when did they elevate you to colonel?
Well, I was a lieutenant colonel, and that's where I retired.
Okay, lieutenant colonel.
As lieutenant colonel. I had been pre-selected for colonel, and it would have meant going back overseas to Okinawa for 2.5 years with my family, or for 13 months without my family. And I had a daughter in college by this time. I had a son and a daughter in high school by this time. I had parents back here, and my wife had a parent back here that they needed help. They were in poor health. It was just time to retire, so I did.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. Nobody wanted me to, but it was just time to do that.
So coming back here meant coming back to Chautauqua County.
To Chautauqua County.
And so where were you and Carol living at the time?
Well, once we got back here, we moved into the Chautauqua School District, Potter Road to start with, and eventually to Mayville for a while, and now we're out in the country in We love Chautauqua County. I see some shortcomings here. I see some problems with opportunity, but this is a good place to live. And we've lived all over the country, and I've lived kind of all over the world. This is a nice place to be for a whole lot of reasons. I think it starts with the people.
So when you came back here, did you become a teacher? What was your profession?
I worked a year for Ethan Allen as a regional personnel director.
In Mayville?
In Mayville, primarily, though I had the factory down in Shrewsbury and a couple other ones also. Training to be a plant manager for them, but by the end of a year I knew I really didn't want that, and they wanted me to go to their headquarters in New England, and I'd already spent a lifetime traveling, and I had a need to be here, so I left them and pretty soon picked up a part-time job working at Panama High School. I coached girls basketball the first year there and decided if I'm going to stay here and do that, I got to know the kids, so I started doing substitute teaching and ended up with, I wouldn't take a regular job. I was offered one at least twice, but I did long-term substituting in physical education twice. I did a lot of day-by-day substituting and got to know the kids. By that time, I'm also coaching the baseball team, and I was at Panama about 10 years. And my favorite story is, one day I'm having coffee down in the boiler room, and the school superintendent came in and said, "Dick, do you have a credential to teach health?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And he says, "We need a health teacher right now." And I asked him, shouldn't you seek out the best you can find? And he went and looked behind the boiler and came back and said, "You're the best I can find." And what I ended up being, and I wasn't really truly qualified, I ended up teaching health 2 periods a day and being a school nurse the rest of the time.
No kidding.
I am not a school nurse. I had a lot of health with the physical things. I could tape sprained ankles or patch wounds, but if it's medical, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
But I got through that and they did hire a regular nurse in there a couple of days a week to fill in where that was necessary. But, so
You knew where the Band-Aids were.
I knew where the Band-Aids were. You got it. And that was the last regular job I had. But yes, you mentioned, I guess before we started talking, that I did serve on the county planning board for 9 years. Oh, God.
Yeah, Patton leaving County Planning Board. Charles Dick Patton is stepping down from the Chautauqua County Planning Board after serving for 9 years. He's pictured with County Executive P.J. Wendell.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I really enjoyed that. You get to know what's going on, and you get to have a little bit of input to it. Yeah.
So I got to go back to all of the years you had with supplies. And an image comes to mind, and this was totally television. You know, the McHale's Navy and other military, but inevitably there would be the supply guy. And there would be the beer that would come in, and maybe a case would go over here for, stuff like that. Was there a funny incident, something that may have occurred that is kind of a military story saying, well, then there was the time?
I'd like to tell you one, but nothing comes to mind right away quick. I was pretty much up at the wholesale level virtually all the time. Mm-hmm. I guess there's one that I tell once in a while. The K-POC, the stuff that I told you that I gathered as a kid. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The warehouses I took over, 35 or 40 years later. We had one warehouse down there full of that stuff that they'd never used. So on my own, it was all dried out and spoiled by then. So we set a big fire and burned it. But and I didn't get in trouble for doing that. They wanted to get rid of it, didn't know how, and I was ignorant enough to just do it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's Marine Corps training too. If you see something that he's doing, you do it.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So, as you were part of the, the greatest generation in a way, you were certainly there. You remember Pearl Harbor. You remember VJ Day. You went through Korea. You were, but for a student deferment, you would have been over in Korea probably. And now, and now you did get a chance to go to Vietnam. What was your sense of the military? I mean, what's the legacy for you? And if there's a lesson that made a difference in your life, being part of the military.
Well, I guess I always wanted to be in the military because of the World War II bringing up, I think, and because of my heroes, my cousins, my uncles, and the neighborhood all went to World War II. When the Korean War came along, I was 17 when I got out of high school, and I had a chance to go to college, so I jumped on that. But I always wanted to go, and I guess that's probably why I joined the National Guard when I was back here. I guess my preach is I think some military training is good for all of us, particularly the young men, but some of the young ladies too. I don't think you have to make a career out of it. You learn so much. You get to see some of the world. You get to meet people that are different than the people of Chautauqua County. And I love the Chautauqua County people. Yeah. But there are some different people in the world, and I think some of us need to know them. I think it enlarges our idea of the world. I guess that's about all there is to it. But I loved the military. Every day I was in, there were hard days. There were days I didn't love it, but overall it was good. And you do bigger and better things than you will get to do as quickly anywhere else, I think. And I say you travel, you meet people. It's just good.
What was your highlight, your military highlight? Was it being with the president?
No, not at all. I don't think that was just something I did. One something we didn't. While I was at Camp Pendleton, one of my additional duties was the Marine Corps computerized the supply system. It was called MUMS, the Marine Corps Unified Military Management System. And I got to go to Philadelphia and to Washington and brainstorm for that, say how the systems needed to work. And that's where I learned about computers, of course, because we were computerizing it. But the computers in those days meant punch cards and tape and that sort of thing. But I think that was exciting. That was. And it was an additional duty. I'd spend 1 week or 2 weeks every month or two back brainstorming that thing, and then come back to my regular job. Mm-hmm. So, it doesn't sound like the Marine Corps at all, but it was. And those kinds of things are all over the military. And I think today, particularly, that we're so much into computers and so much into electronic warfare now, and. I don't think I'd even recognize the military I was in anymore.
Yeah. So here you are, age 91.
91. I'll be 92 in November.
And I mentioned it earlier, and you do hide it well. You articulate it well. If you had to give a message to your kids and grandkids, what would it be?
I guess I'm just love your country and love the people in it, and do what you can for the people in it. And I won't get political, but I do think we're going through a really strained time right now, and use your head and help us get out of it. I don't know how you do that, but that would be my thought.
Well, a good thought it is, and a great way to end. And I thank you. I'm just so glad that we did it.
Well, I guess I'm glad I was here. You broke me up a couple times, but I think I'm happy with my life, and I don't even think it's over yet. I say I got a wife that's my age. Are we actually still on?
Yeah, sure.
I tell my wife she's older than me. She is, 4 months and 2 days. But we've spent a lifetime together, and it's been good. And I guess that's the other thing. Family's still important in this world, and I think some of us have forgotten that.
Yeah. Well, you're quite the example of it for it. So, Colonel Dick Patton, thank you very much for joining us here at the Jackson Center.
No, I wasn't sure I wanted to come, but I'm glad I came. It's been a good hour, been a good time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.